My creative journey started over 7 years ago and it spans over 90 YouTube videos, hundreds of photo edits. Please be patient with me as I go through all 7 years and I have given chapter times in the description. I was always fascinated with how movies were made and I wanted to learn that process. From the strong desire, I started making tech videos on YouTube. Why tech YouTube, you ask? I'm a tech enthusiast and at that point of time tech YouTube was an escape from my daily grind and I had a blast making those videos.
Let us kick off with the build, which is simple yet functional. The blue color I have makes the build eye-catching. The wire feels good and is thick and long enough to sustain regular usage. They fit pretty well in the ear and are comfortable for long sessions.
Now, since we have talked about how the device has been performing since we bought it, now let's talk about the features of the device. You can see there's a keyboard here which works pretty well and this hasn't aged like the software of the device. Best time to look at an S8 because it's priced lower and it has most of what you would consider great features. It has good build quality and it's not 5T level or OnePlus 6 level fast, but it's out there, it's no slouch.
I have noticed that I had a very peculiar style, especially with the intros. I stopped making tech videos in 2019 and transitioned to doing more standalone edits. I was getting less and less views every time, and looking back, the videos I made weren't that great either. So it got harder and harder to make tech videos as well because the space was getting too crowded and it is still crowded. Moreover, I prefer doing the behind the scenes editing rather than playing dice with the algorithm, with the views and all. So one regretful decision I took was deleting all of those videos on YouTube. So now unfortunately I can no longer view those statistics and I can no longer view that part of my editing legacy on YouTube. So I guess I was somewhat embarrassed of my earlier work and I am obsessed with perfecting everything. And sometimes that doesn't fit well with my impatience. More on this later and how I take drastic measures sometime.
We have barely touched the highlights of my editing journey, so here's a sneak peek for you. I'll play one of my old video and I'll play one of the new one and see the difference for yourself.
There was an exception I made to my standalone edits. I got a chance to be the media head for a club in my BTech days and I was back to making YouTube videos for a short while. It was a short and a sweet time and it not only put my video editing skills but also my video shooting skills to the test as well.
The ongoing Russia-Ukraine war has caused huge humanitarian crisis with millions of people being displaced and left homeless. But there is also some other repercussions to it.
This was completely different than anything I've done prior and it sort of helped me reshape my creativity. I have transitioned into much more of a general type of editing. One example I can give you is that I have made a YouTube video as part of a playlist, One Marvelous Scene.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable YouTubers to see if they could become something more. Now this is the One Marvelous Scene playlist, and this is started by Nando V Movies. He made great videos and huge thanks to him for doing this. My One Marvelous Scene is a scene from the movie Iron Man.
Now this was a breath of fresh air. Lately, I am very much into any other edit that I can do that just pops up in my head. And this is what I came up with. I also started focusing more on the color and the visual style of a video, and you can notice how I changed the look of this video, and I like this process of changing the look of an image to evoke a certain emotion. I haven't nailed those emotional nuances yet, but I'm on the way there, and you can see why this could be exciting, because you can manipulate the image that comes right out of the camera into something that's exciting and visually appealing. You can see how I changed the colors and made it pop a bit, and I actually really like this type of edits that I'm doing these days, which really push me to my edge in terms of my capabilities. I began with Windows Movie Maker in 2015. Then for the bulk of my YouTube videos, I did it in Sony Vegas Pro till 2017. Then I transitioned to Adobe Premiere Pro, and I have been using it ever since. Anyway, it's not the application that matters, it's you, the editor, who can get things done, even with the limitations of the software that you're using. I have actually never shied away from editing on my phone in the InShot app. I love to do it on a tiny screen. I feel it's a bit more personal. However, the same software does get boring after a while. In hopes of changing that, I am editing this video in DaVinci Resolve, and this made things a lot better for me. It was a new experience and I got to learn a lot more things. I'm not a graphic designer, but I have made some decent graphics and logos on Canva. Not going into much detail here because this is like a small cherry on top of the cake that is made of wonderfulness. That is my editing. You might be curious as to why I edit. It prevents burnout for me, and every time I witness the transformation from before to after an edit, there's a high I get, and I love chasing that high. And On a personal note, this is the only hobby that I have, and it's the only thing that I can talk about apart from the regular stuff like maybe movies or academics or anything else like that. And this tech videos on YouTube were a huge part of my early teens, and I survived through the later years by making tech videos, which I later transitioned to do a lot more than that. But this has become a huge chunk of my identity, and without that, I would be incomplete. And this has been my escape from the shenanigans of real life. During all this time, I was slowly getting better at photo editing. Initially, I went with my gut feeling, but slowly I learned what each slider and each setting did, and I started making better edits. Even here, the main part I like is the manipulation of colors. Snapseed and InShot are a good place to start on the phone, and once you get the hang of it, Lightroom on the phone and on the PC allows you to do a lot more, and it offers you a lot more control. Photoshop takes it a bit more further, and you can do a lot of things. For example, I've tried restoring a few old photos, and I've brought some life back into some of the existing photos. The Lumina suite from Skylum, like Luminar Neo or Luminar AI, that is also really good, and you can do crazy sky replacements with it. If you ever want to see my work outside of YouTube, I do post photo edits and video edits on my Instagram page, Pixel Zodiac. I have to talk about one important person in my life and a very important phase in my editing journey. That is about my grandfather and the videos I made about his life. When my grandfather passed away in 2019, my grieving process involved making videos about his life. I poured all of my love into that, and that's how I was able to grieve a loss of a very important person in my life. But I feel the video I'm going to play next, that is my best edit so far, and it manages to include everything that I have told over all of my previous edits into a very small runtime. Making videos about my grandfather took a toll on me. So it took me a while to get back to video editing. Now I've realized it's a bit more complicated than that because I prioritize my academics over it, and I have been doing this from a long time very impatiently, so I lost some of the creative spark. But nevertheless, I made this video, and that's enough to show I have moved on and going on a good path. So I'll try to be more optimistic, and I'll try to be more conservative with my creative sparks, so that I don't have to face this burnout again. I wanted this video to be my best, and I pushed off making this edit for a long time. This was very difficult for me because I had to prioritize my research work over this. I could not be working on this all day. Another difficulty stems from my impatience. When I begin, I put on a lot of emphasis on the editing and I do perfect it, but after a while I get tired, and instead of taking a break, I impatiently complete the rest of the video, and just to meet a deadline I set for myself, like a very arbitrary deadline, nothing imposed by anyone, just me imposing a deadline on myself. That makes my videos half baked and incomplete. I don't like the output that I see later on. So this time I only worked when I found the flow. I only worked when I had an idea, and when something wasn't working, I changed it, and when the recording wasn't working, I shot it again. This video was scripted initially in November. I shot it first in December. With additional content, I added a lot of stuff in December, January and February, and I only put the stuff that works and I discarded everything else. Despite all that, this video is not at the scale I imagined it to be. I imagined it to have great sound design and some fast-paced editing, like the stuff I see around in YouTube, but I have to realize I cannot go from zero to hero in one single edit. Is it still a good edit? Yeah, it definitely is. The evolution in quality might not be evident to you, the viewer, but how I approach the editing on this and how I dealt with my perfectionism and this impatience, that has evolved a lot, and I am very much happy with the output that I got here, and I should be able to say this is my best edit, and I've not edited it yet, so I'm just being optimistic, but I think, yeah, this is my best edit. Now, I'll be honest, not all my videos were successes, and I can't claim to be an artist today. I faced my fair share of failures, especially when trying to crack the YouTube algorithm. It stung, but I quickly shifted my focus to academic goals, prioritizing them over my creative pursuits. This newfound self-confidence played a crucial role in my journey, leading to a significant payoff: admission into a PhD program last year. I'm first and foremost a highly curious engineer, but right after that, I'm a passionate creator. My PhD is my morning motivation, and my love for creation keeps me going all day. I've realized that creative experiments are an essential part of who I am, and I won't stop because they make me feel complete. So, what's the takeaway from this video? Embrace change, try new things, and live a life that excites you. Life can get stale without occasional changes and experiments, so don't be afraid to keep things exciting. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I can't wait to see what's next. Remember, change is difficult, but it's oh so important. Until next time, stay creative and stay curious.